welcome to Keeping It Real with Nikki Shelton and Carrie Selby. Carrie, how you doing today?
Doing really good. Anticipating the birth of my granddaughter, but
I know, super excited. I can't wait. I'm probably almost as excited as you. I got to hold a couple little ones. Well, one little one, I should say, this weekend, and it was so much fun for my son's graduation. So it was like
babies are the best.
It is the best. So today we're going to be talking about moving, and moving is super exciting, but sometimes finding the right real estate person can be really difficult, especially if you are moving out of state or if you're moving into state or, and that move and you just don't know who to reach out to. And I know you can always pick the phone and say, hi, how are you? I'm looking for a real estate person and get somebody, but you always don't know what you get. So that's what we're going to talk about today. What can you do? And how we can help connect you. Okay. So I love this screen. We're the home matchmaker. It was funny. I was actually at my son's graduation this weekend, and I was talking to a friend of mine whose son was home from college, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's looking for a job." I said, "Hold on." Turned around. I said, "Hey, I got this guy here," and I probably within 5 minutes, he's probably almost halfway hooked up. So, I just kind of know people, right?
Yes.
So anyway, we're going to go ahead and move forward, and we're going to talk about why it matters who you choose. And I know we've talked about this in other talks that we've done and stuff like this, but even like with brokers coming over into the Kitsap market, it just, sometimes I cringe because when they price homes, it's not quite right because they're thinking Seattle prices, and it's just, it doesn't match with what they're seeing. You don't know the inventory enough. They don't know the neighborhoods as well, the schools, the pricing, or the inspections, and they don't have those contacts. So it's super, super, super important to choose somebody. And also there's like the other things too, which are like the coding, or, like the codes and like the things you have to do, like in Kitsap versus maybe Seattle. Like in Kitsap, you have to have a 22 UU or UUU, depending, or 22 SUU, UUU. Anyway, that's kind of hard to say.
That's a lot of U.
Yes, there's a lot of U's, but they're forms that you use, and sometimes they're for the septic, sometimes they're for the well, and how that works and what that process is. There's just different things that happen here versus King County, for instance. And I'm just using an example. But you have somebody who's maybe moving from Virginia or from Texas, and they're coming here. It's a whole new ballgame, and it's like they really need somebody local who they can trust and depend on. And it goes the vice versa. If you're having somebody from this area move to those locations, it's totally different again. So what happens if you choose the wrong person? Well, it's kind of number three. It's a poor fit. Maybe the person just doesn't get along well with you, and they're not communicating correctly, or you wanted somebody who will like really take and give you the information kind of step by step, and they just kind of gloss over it and don't give you the full picture. So you're not sure a lot of times. Maybe you miss opportunities. That's why you really need to choose correctly and choose the right person. And we're going to talk about today on how we can help. So one of the things I do, and Carrie, I don't know how it is, and I'm going to let you talk after me, because that way you can give it kind of the lender perspective, because I know we both have a ton of connections. I know that I'm on a whole bunch of base groups, for instance, and different. I've got a huge network with my company. I've got a huge network with my MRP group, with my Washington State real estate brokers, with my local Kitsap brokers. I've got a fairly large connection. Plus, I also have Nebraska and Iowa that I've been adding slowly to that group too. So, probably one of the biggest things that I do when I'm talking with somebody I know specifically is I sit down with them and I'm asking them these questions like, I kind of already know the person, I guess, usually when I'm first talking to the person, I usually have some connection with them. So I kind of already have a feel like, they're really like an engineer, like they're going to want somebody to explain step by step and take it really slow and make sure everything's there. You might get somebody else who does social media and they're like, no, I just want a glossy picture. Just give it to me so I can make my choice and get done with it. Their personality types are different. So I try to not only find out kind of what they're looking for, the price range and that kind of things, but kind of what their personality type is a little bit too. So when I'm calling people and interviewing them, and I do call brokers, I call brokers all the time for my clients, and I'll call a broker, several of them. I'll, get a group of them, and then I will do maybe 6 things that they want somebody very experienced, or if they can take somebody who's new, maybe who's worked with another managing broker. But finding the person who's got the experience, who's got the time, I ask a lot of questions, and a lot of people, I don't think, when you're not in the field, you don't really know what to ask brokers. And so having somebody go in and actually interview for you and at least narrow it down to a couple, this is the kind of the results I got based on what you told me. These are probably your top 2 candidates. Why don't we set up an appointment and talk to them? And I've done that several times too, and that usually seems to work well. But I have usually a relationship with, whether it's in an online group or whether it's people I know or just different brokers I've worked with in the past. I usually have some type of, relationship with that person. And that really helps move that process along. So the client's going to get somebody who, is trustworthy, hopefully, and is going to be there accountable to them when they need, I need to go look at a house or I need to do this. That person's going to be there because we've already had those discussions up front. It's going to be hopefully somebody that will get along well with them. And then it really helps kind of speed along the process versus starting out on your own and then maybe working with somebody and then it's not a good match. And then, you know what I mean? Having to go through this process a couple of times so it really kind of helps. The cons, you have to kind of go with my group of people and my network. I mean, most of these groups have 40,000 people. So I think I have a pretty good broad base, or 80,000, depending on which group I'm looking at. Not all those people are going to be in that area, obviously, but there's usually a pretty nice size handful that that I can choose from and kind of interview with and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what I bring to the table. If you call me, is that, like I said, I have a network. I'm willing to sit down and talk to the client first and make sure that I'm understanding what their needs are and how they want to be best dealt with. Do you want somebody who's really hands-on? Do you want somebody who just, like I said, kind of gives you a little bit here, a little bit there? And then make that match. And so I think that's kind of where my biggest thing is. How does it work on the lender side, Carrie?
It's basically the same. Even just within my company, we're in all 50 states. So I can just choose from a list. I can send out an email and say who's licensed in this area. And same thing, I want to talk to that person. I'm not just going to go with the first person that pipes up and says, oh, I'm licensed there. You really want your client to be taken care of. So it's important to vet them for sure.
Right. And I like the fact that you have 2 of us right here, because you have a lender who can hook you up with somebody who's going to make the right choices for you on that side, and also the real estate person who's going to be able to know what questions to ask to make sure that those questions get done as well. Okay. So the things I'm going to ask for, like I mentioned a little bit kind of briefly but quickly, was I'm going to ask for the price range. I'm going to ask what time frame you're going to be looking for, what type of property, what your lifestyle needs are, because I really want to match you with somebody who is familiar with that and who knows, for instance, if you're looking for waterfront homes, I'm going to want to find somebody who has previous experience probably selling waterfront homes, or who's at least lived on the waterfront, who knows it. And so those are kinds of the things I'm going to ask kind of specific questions on. And like I said, I interview, and then I try to match you up with a local broker in that area who knows the neighborhoods, who knows everything that you're looking for in that area. I mean, that's kind of what our jobs are, is to know that stuff. And so, it's to find that person who's knowledgeable. And then I do follow up to make sure, hey, how's it going? I'm just checking in. Are you and the broker getting along okay? Are they still contacting you? Are they still sending you new homes to look at? Have they contacted you about selling your home? I mean, I do follow up with that. How do you do yours, Carrie?
Very similar, because you want to make sure, like I said just previously, you are referring somebody that trusts you. And so you want them to keep fostering that, or we're fostering that trust by keeping in touch with the person they're working with, because maybe they haven't been communicating the same way that client's used to communicating with us. So that in that way, you can just say, hey, I heard from the client that, maybe you're not reaching out as much, and we can intervene.
Exactly. And I've had to do, I mean, it's hard sometimes to find the right person. And I know that they're, for the most part, I've been right on and I've gotten the right person. And it seems like it's been a great relationship. There's been another time where, this person, actually the client kind of goes to them. And then I think the broker didn't really respond like they wanted to answer like right now the client did. And then it was kind of like, well, I went that way. So, you get stuff like that too. So the main thing is, Carrie and I can work together on that. Especially if you're moving across country, we can make sure another thing too, is that if you're doing a contingent sale, because I just had one of those earlier this year, and, you're having a person sell their house in one place, move to another place that they've never been, it's, making sure that both sides are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's working together. And that's where we really build up that collaboration with these other brokers and stuff like that, whether I meet them online or whether I meet them with another transaction. I mean, we're always meeting new brokers, so I think that's really helpful, because then you have people that you've worked with in the past. It's like, I love sending referrals to people I've already done work with, because I know exactly how they're going to do it. I know they're going to make sure that the client's needs are being met. So okay, I think we covered it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So when clients need real estate help outside the local area, we don't just pass them along like Carrie said. We, like that would be like calling somebody randomly. Hey, can you take this person? Sure. Okay. I don't care. I don't do that. We really leverage our experience. Like I said, I know what questions that, my clients will look for me as far as like, do you answer your phone? What hours do you work? Those kind of things. Those are hugely important when you're buying and selling a home. Are you available? Because if you're not, it may not work for that person, or if it's weird hours or something. And then, having the connections too in the community and in those specific areas too. I mean, if they're a broker, they may not have home inspectors and contractors. And so fixing that, or, putting up someone who wants to buy fixing a house with that person, the broker not having any, contractors in place that would be able to assist with some of this stuff, it's not going to be a good match. So it's really trying to do that. So I spend, hours sometimes interviewing people and then kind of breaking it down and then presenting to my clients and saying, okay, now we can do that. So it helps with smoother transactions, more confident experience. And then as far as the other side of it, what the brokers get, and I kind of guess I just mentioned this, is that it gives us a chance to really connect with other brokers that sometimes that we maybe haven't worked with before, but we can build that partnership. So that helps, like with our, just as far as, other clients that are coming up. If I get somebody who's just absolutely amazing with my, with the client I send them and stuff like that, I'm always happy to keep sending them to them. And then I know our side of it, I don't know how your side works, but kind of they're like, you put all this time in, you're interviewing for us. We do get a small referral fee, and that comes straight up from the other side broker, from the broker that I sent to you. So it's not a charge that you get that the client has to pay. So that's kind of cool.
And we do that the same exact way. There's a referral fee for it. And if you establish these relationships, in the future, they'll remember you and the business that you gave them. And so they might return that business as well. So it's great just to establish those open lines of communication and follow up with them even after the transaction's over.
Absolutely. So, a lot of people like, oh, Nikki, I didn't call you because, you're in Washington and I'm in California or Florida. You know what? You can call me. Especially if you don't know. Like if you know somebody and you think they're going to do a great job for you, absolutely. You got somebody local who has, call them. If you know somebody's local and they know the market and they've been doing it for a while and you trust them, do that. But if you don't know anyone, you're just reaching out randomly. My phone number is on there. Carrie's phone number is on there. We would love a call because we can help. Even if we're not licensed in that state, I'm in 2 states, and Carrie, I think you're in 2 or 3 now.
2.
Yeah. 2, California and Washington, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm in Nebraska and Washington. So, outside of that, I can't go help you, but like, I can't go in and tell you, oh yeah, you need this form. You need it's out of my jurisdiction, but I do know how real estate works very well. I do a lot of it on, I do a lot of transactions on that. So I can ask the questions that you might not know. So please give us a call. Anything else to add to that?
No, I think you summed up everything really well. Thank you.
Of course. Next week, we're going to have 70-degree weather. Or almost in the 80s. That's my kayaking weather. I'm so excited. All right, you guys. That's it till next weekend. We will see you shortly. And if you have any questions, drop in the line. Or if you have any questions, or you need to contact us about moving or selling your home in either area or whatever area, give us a call. We're always happy to help. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.